this afternoon to discuss the PIAAC National Supplement release schedule, the enhanced data set, resources, and to share agency updates and ideas. I am Johan Juven at the Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Education at the U.S. Department of Education. And in the room with me today are
Dana Kelly from the National Center for Education Statistics.
Heidi Silver-Picola from OCTAE.
Rick Hernandez from OCTAE.
Chris Coro from OCTAE.
To begin, Dana Kelly will provide the update on the PIAAC National Supplement. Dana?
Thanks very much. I want to thank Johan for inviting NCS here today to give you an update on what we've been working on for PIAAC and what's going to be coming out in the next year. Katie, we can start with the first slide. What is PIAAC? Since you're all here, I think you know what PIAAC is, but I just want to remind you of some of the details to put the National Supplement into context. So as a reminder, in 2012, we participated in PIAAC, an international large-scale household assessment. It was administered in 23 countries around the world. 9 more countries have administered PIAAC since then. We assessed 16 to 65-year-olds, non-institutionalized adults in households, irrespective of nationality, citizenship, or language status. In the U.S., this was a sample of about 5,000 individuals. We assessed literacy, numeracy, problem-solving and technology-rich environments, and reading components. In the U.S., the assessments were conducted in English. These were computer-based tests. They were adaptive tests. So we were able to better target the measurement of these skills than we have in other previous paper-based adults. Now, there was a small percentage of the population that took a paper and pencil version, but the vast majority of adults in the United States were able to take the computer-based test. And in addition to the assessments, we had an extensive background questionnaire with questions about participants' education, employment, their use of skills, and other experiences they've had. This questionnaire was administered both in English or Spanish, depending on the participant's preference. So let's move on to the next slide, where we talk about the PIAAC U.S. National Supplement. So what was this? In 2014, we went back out to households to get an additional sample of 3,600 adults to target particular groups. We wanted to get more young adults, so it's 16 to 34, older adults, 16 to 74. We hadn't gotten any adults in this population. This was not part of the original population of PIAAC in 2012. And we also wanted to get a better measure of unemployed adults. So we targeted unemployed adults in this, going out in this round of PIAAC. With this additional 3,600 in the household, we gave the same instruments and used the same procedures as had been used in PIAAC in 2012. Now, together with the sample we collected, the data we collected in 2012, and this additional household, we can combine those cases together so we have a much larger sample, and that allows us to provide both more precise estimates, and we can provide results for additional groups. So that was one purpose of this additional data collection we did as part of the National Supplement. Another important part of the National Supplement was going out to prisons. We went and got a sample of adults aged 16 to 74 incarcerated in state and federal prisons, and we have a sample of about 1,200 individuals. These individuals took the same instruments used in the PIAAC household study, but they also answered questions about correctional education, their work experience in prison, their personal history in the prison system, and many more questions. So we can go on to the next slide. So that's the history of PIAAC and the PIAAC supplement. This slide is just intended to kind of summarize that. So as I said, in the main study, we had a sample of about 5,000 adults aged 16 to 65. And in the National Supplement that we conducted more recently, we have an additional 3,600 members of households to target those 3 groups, young adults, unemployed adults, and older adults. And then in addition, we had the incarcerated adults aged 16 to 74. And as I mentioned, in addition to the assessments, participants answered detailed background questionnaires about their current and past education and training, their work experience, the sorts of skills they use at work and home, other background information and traits, and the prison sample answered additional specific questions about experience in prison. And the important thing is that we will take the data that we collected in 2012, combine it with the data from 2014 in our forthcoming reports, which I'll talk about in a moment. So you can go on to the next slide. So this is just a reminder for the domains. I won't spend a lot of time on this. The three main domains that we assessed in PIAAC were literacy, numeracy, and problem-solving in technology-rich environments. And I'll get to some more resources about PIAAC on the NCS website, and from there you can go and get more information about these assessments. So we can go on to the next slide. So just as a reminder about how we did in 2012, this slide shows our relative performance on literacy, numeracy, and problem solving. And again, this was for our sample of 16 to 65-year-olds in households. The U.S. average, this is based on the U.S. average. That is us in the orange. Our average was lower than most other countries in all three domains. Now, we did relatively better in literacy than numeracy or problem solving, but still, we were lower than the average in all three. Let's go on to the next slide. This next slide shows how we did on the PISA levels of proficiency. So in addition to reporting the U.S. average score, which is useful, a lot of the PIAAC reporting in our past report and then the forthcoming reports will focus on the percent of adults reaching different levels of performance. So for example, in literacy, at the very top, levels 4 and 5, those are the higher level literacy skills. We had about the same percent as the average internationally. Now, these are interesting because you can actually attach meaning to these levels. We have descriptions of what the different levels mean in our reports and on the NCS website. And I wanted to include this slide today because our forthcoming reports will have a lot of displays that are like that are comparing the U.S. or groups within the United States on the different subjects according to the proficiency level. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. This is where we get to talk about what's coming out. So we've collected all this data, and the report from the 2012 PIAAC was released in 2013 during the government shutdown. So that was an interesting time. We're hoping that won't happen this time for these forthcoming reports. We have 3 reports planned in the next year that are based on the National Supplement. The first we're calling our First Look report, and we're planning that for January. And this is it's going to have updated national estimates for the main subject areas, but really it's going to focus on the 3 groups we went after in the National Supplement to get better information about unemployed adults, young adults, and older adults. The second report we'll have coming out this year, that's planned for March 2016, is the prison report. And then I'll say more about that in a moment. And then the third report will focus on young adults, so it'll focus on both 16 to 24 and 25 to 34-year-olds looking at employment and skills. And for all of these reports, in addition to the report itself, we'll be releasing the data files so researchers can really get in there and do additional analyses, and we'll be releasing data tools. And I'll say a little bit more about those in a moment. Let's go on to the next slide. The prison study and data, which I said is planned for March 2016, that'll have performance information, but also it's going to have information from those unique background questionnaires that were answered by those respondents on their participation in correctional education, including reentry prep, parenting, job training, participation in substance abuse and mental health counseling, previous incarcerations and expected release, and so on. So all of that data will be available in the data files, and the report will have some highlights from that data collection. It'll also include a comparison between the prison population and the household population. And the Department of Education and Department of Justice are collaborating on release activities and ongoing awareness about this data collection and the forthcoming report. So we'll certainly have more to share on this report in the future. Okay, we can go on to the next slide. Just wanted to spend a few moments talking about, this is a page just for your resources, about various resources that we have on the NCS website and elsewhere to help you all and your stakeholders really dig into PIAAC and the PIAAC data. So first we have you can go to the next slide. The NCS website has a lot of resources for PIAAC. This is just an image of the home page, but from here you can access many of the tools that I'll mention and also information about PIAAC, what was measured, what those performance levels are that I talked about earlier, what the background questionnaires look like and what kinds of questions were included in the data collection, what the assessments themselves look like, and so on. So you can go on to the next one. So our first look report, well, all of our reports, we can only, there's so much data that's collected in PIAAC. You may recall from the last PIAAC data collection, there is so much, and the report can only have so many tables and figures in it. So we've developed something we call the PIAAC results portal that allows users to go on and select various combinations of variables they may be interested in and pull up pre-populated tables, our tables we've already created. And it's a really easy tool to use to pull up the myriad data that are available from PIAAC. So this is just an example of the kind of figure that can be created using the portal. It's really very easy to use. A variety of topics and subgroups can be examined this way. And then you can export the tables and save them or print them. Now we can go on to the next slide. So that's really easy to use. The International Data Explorer is also really easy to use. This allows you as a user to do a little bit more exploration of the data. And the data, this is a picture of the home page, and basically with the Data Explorer, you're selecting the countries you want to look at, you're selecting the various variables you want to look at, and you can, unlike the portal I just talked about, which has pre-populated tables, this allows you to call up the various tables you want to make, and you can make some changes. You can collapse categories and variables. You can decide if you want the figure to be a line graph or a bar graph. And it takes more steps, say, than the portal, but it allows you to do a little bit more manipulation of the data, yet doesn't require you to have any sophisticated software or really statistical background. It's just a really easy to use tool. So I do encourage you, if you haven't already, to get on there and use it to explore the PIAAC data. And we'll be updating this database, the Data Explorer, with the National Supplement data and the PRISM data over the coming months as those reports are being released. We can go on to the slide. This next slide is just an example of the kind of chart that you can create yourself with the Data Explorer. Okay, that's all I wanted to share, and now I will pass the baton over to Jaleh to talk about the other tools and resources that are available. Jaleh?
Yes, thank you, Dana and Johan. I will be talking about Educational Skills Online and other resources. Developed based on PIAAC by OECD, Education Skills Online is an assessment tool designed to provide individual level results that are linked to the same skills assessed in PIAAC, and therefore all results are comparable to the PIAAC measures and can be benchmarked against national and international results available for the participating countries. Similar to PIAAC, Education Skills Online contains both cognitive and non-cognitive measures used in PIAAC. Currently, the assessment is offered in 11 languages. In the U.S., both cognitive and non-cognitive measures are available both in English and Spanish. The main PIAAC that Dana talked about is only offered, the assessment, direct assessment is only offered in English, but with Education and Skills Online, it is offered both in English and Spanish. The assessment is only available in computer-based format and offered on the internet. Test takers may take the test from any computer, including their home computers that meet the system requirement. And test takers will receive a code that they must enter in order to be able to start the test. Next slide, please. Components of Education Skills Online include a short background questionnaire with 9 questions covering demographic characteristics, social and linguistic background, education, and also employment status. All test takers have to complete the background, all of the test takers have to complete the background question. The cognitive assessment tool measures the same literacy, numeracy, reading components, and problem-solving domains. The items are based on frameworks that were developed for PIAAC. The literacy and numeracy assessment contain a combination of items from PIAAC survey, and new items are specifically developed, has been developed for Education Skills Online. The reading components and problem-solving in technology-rich environment assessments contain only items from the main PIAAC survey. There are also 4 non-cognitive modules. The first one is behavioral performance competencies, which this module is designed as a personality assessment. This assessment provides scores across 13 traits which are expected, and also research has shown to be instrumental to success in education and in workforce. Examples of the traits are like diligence, organization dependability, self-discipline, assertiveness, friendliness, collaboration, and other traits. The other non-cognitive measure is subjective well-being and health. Subjective well-being refers to how people think and feel about their lives overall, and the health module summarizes health attitudes and behavior of test takers, including health outlook, issues related body mass index, diet, nutrition, smoking, exercise, and sleep. The career interest and intentionality measures adults' preferences for different types of work activities and environments, how well their interests match current or intended jobs, and level of their intention to seek out new job opportunities and job-related training. And the last is skill use and transfer, which assesses how often adults use the skills associated with reading, writing, numeracy, and information and communication technology in their home and work. This specific module can be linked to the PIAAC skill use scale. Next slide, please. What are the uses and benefits of the Education Skills Online? Education Skills Online was developed as an assessment for adults of all ages, including young adults. So public and private companies can use the results to help them identify the training needs related to literacy, numeracy, or basic skills of their workforce. In addition, state or local government organizations interested in assessing learning needs of unemployed adults, at-risk groups, at-risk youth, or economically disadvantaged adults can use this tool. Also, educational institutions such as universities, vocational education, and training centers can use Education Skills Online as a diagnostic tool for incoming students to help determine their needs for literacy, numeracy, or basic skills. In addition, programs providing adult basic skills training that wish to have information about strengths and weaknesses of their learners and would like to assess their progress, they can use the tool as a pre- and post-test. Education Skills Online is available to purchase by institutions. Institutions can purchase multiple access codes for test takers in order to conduct a research study about the skill level of a particular subpopulation or whatever other use they may have. Organizations have flexibility to determine which skills to use or to assess. They may purchase a cognitive or a non-cognitive assessment package or a bundled package that includes both packages. Database is owned by purchaser, by organizations or institutions, and is available for further in-house analysis or research purposes. After purchasing Education Skills Online, purchaser will be given access to an online administration portal where they can manage their test inventory and view test results. Next slide, please. One thing about PIAAC is that it is a very rich data set that contains insight into many social, educational, and labor-related topics. It's also a very complex survey, and therefore, in addition to data tools Dana mentioned, NCS and AIR are providing technical assistance and training to enhance capacity of researchers who are interested to use the data and obtain valid results. For example, through a grant provided by IES from U.S. Department of Education, AIR in collaboration with Portland State University and ETS are providing several extended training sessions with the goal of training approximately 160 researchers over the next 3 years. One of the extended 3-day training will be hosted by AIR in DC, and it will be providing opportunity for government researchers who are interested to attend. Information about these training sessions will be provided on the PIAAC Gateway. Also, PIAAC Gateway has a specific page of resources for researchers, which includes a question and answer function, and we often receive questions from researchers on how to conduct specific tests. And also there is a wiki, which is an online communication board providing opportunities for researchers to communicate on their research results or questions they may have. An online PIAAC database dataset training is also offered through NCS website for researchers who may not be able to attend training sessions, so that they can use the online modules on their own pace. Also, NCS has run statistical code for researchers who cannot access restricted use data. It's on request. This is mostly for researchers who are residing outside of the U.S. Next, please. PIAAC Gateway, as I mentioned in the last slide, is another great resource. It is a one-stop shop for accessing to all PIAAC-related national and international resources. Through the Gateway, you can find out the latest publication or national international research papers that are based on PIAAC data, also media coverages, data tools and training videos, upcoming events, and special page for outreach. The outreach page includes infographic, PowerPoint presentations, brochures designed to provide greater understanding about PIAAC data, and could be downloaded and customized to meet the needs of adult education researchers, practitioners, or any other. In order to bring more visitors to PIAAC data and ensure researchers in the field of education, labor, health, and other social sciences know about PIAAC, In 2014, right after the release of PIAAC data, NCS funded about 10 original research papers commissioned by AIR around important policy issues related to the U.S. workforce literacy and learning, use of technology skills, skills of immigrants, and health literacy. 24 researchers from different disciplines worked on the papers. Each paper was reviewed by a team of experts, including some of you helped us in reviewing the papers. And the final results were presented at an invitational research conference held in December 2014 in Washington, D.C. Full papers and presentations and videos of the sessions are all available at the PIAAC Gateway. Next, please. We are planning to conduct a second PIAAC Research to Practice to Action Invitational Conference on December 10 to 11 this year in DC. As a follow-up to our highly successful 2014 conference. Similar to 2014 conference, this year conference will provide a forum for researchers, policymakers, and practitioners to explore the ways in which PIAAC data can inform in-depth understanding of the relationship between skills and critical outcomes for individuals and societies. In this slide, you can view titles of 6 of the commission papers. Extended description of the papers are all available from the PIAAC Gateway. That's all I had to say, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Jelly, and also thank you, Dana, for these great presentations. The National Supplement, along with all the tools and resources being developed, is really going to make this PIAAC data set more robust. And we at OCTAE are most certainly looking forward to mining all these data. As you probably know, we use this data set extensively in the Making Skills Everyone's Business reports, as well as in the upskill work we did with the White House that was part of the Ready to Work effort, the Vice President's report on job-driven training. Now, this has been an extremely productive partnership with NCES and the AIR team.
Yep.
And you can always visit the PIAACgateway.com website for any further updates. Unless there are any final comments, I want to really thank everyone for setting time aside in their busy schedules and for giving us an opportunity to brief you on what is next with PIAAC and the PIAAC supplements. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have a good weekend.